Hi, this is Bryan from WHITBY OSHAWA Honda, and thank you for tuning in. Well, it's really cold outside today. It's been snowing and it's going to keep snowing, so it's a great time to talk about an SUV. And today I want to talk to you about the HR-V. This vehicle is phenomenal. The best way that I describe it is kind of like if a Honda Civic, a Honda Fit, and a CR-V had a baby. This would be the love child, so I'll explain what that is. And this is an award-winning vehicle. Now, it's been classified as a compact crossover or a subcompact SUV, and there's really nothing subcompact about it other than the name. It's an award-winning vehicle. It's the IHS top safety pick. It is a best-in-segment value winner with the highest pre-owned value, which means if resale value is important to you, this is going to hold its value more than any other competitor. It's under the classification of best SUV brand, which is the Honda brand, best SUV brand. And the HR-V is, interesting enough, the best SUV for teens. Won an award for that. So if you want to feel youthful, the HR-V is definitely your car. Now, something that's really, really important is quality of the vehicle. And I found something, and actually check out the link below in this video, and there's something called Repair Pal. And what they've done is they've looked at probably over 50 million repair work orders at automotive repair shops, over 2,000 automotive repair shops. And the Honda overall is #1 in quality. And the HR-V in its segment is #1 in quality. So you're paying for quality with Honda. And what the cool thing is, it's not based on consumer surveys. This is real hard data, actual repairs, actual frequency of repairs, and actual cost of repairs. Honda #1. You're getting your money's worth here. All right, so the HR-V comes in essentially 4 trim levels. There's the LX front-wheel drive, LX all-wheel drive. This one is what we call the Sport, and there is a Touring Edition. Touring Edition will have leather, Navi, satellite radio, LED headlights. This one is the Sport, and it is beautiful. I love the HR-V. So it is on a Honda Fit platform. And with that, there's actually no recommended towing capacity. So if you need to tow something, you may want to look at a CR-V or a Pilot. And because it's on a Honda Fit platform, this car can do some amazing things. What Honda did was they put the fuel tank under the center of the vehicle. And there's 2 key benefits there. So one is if there was a severe rear end collision, it won't rupture the fuel tank. But number 2, it allows the seats to do things that other cars just can't. And I'll demonstrate that in a moment. The motor is a previous generation Honda Civic motor, super reliable, very good on fuel efficiency. And the all-wheel drive system is the same system that they use in the CR-V. So let's say you're kind of cruising along. The car will try to be in front-wheel drive to optimize fuel efficiency. But when you need power, let's say you hammer the gas, maybe you're starting out at a hill, or if you encounter any slippage, snow, sand, mud, all 4 wheels kick in. So it's very effective in the winter, and you're definitely going to need this. If you live here, yeah, you need this car. Okay, so this IHS, which is the Insurance Institute of Highway Safety, top safety pick. So like all Hondas, the HR-V uses what's called the ACE body structure. That stands for Advanced Compatibility Engineering. So the vehicle has a high content of what's called high tensile steel. And in the event of a collision, it would disperse the energy around the cabin versus going through the cabin. This is absolutely vital to your protection. If you did get into a serious head-on collision, the engine mount's going to drop out completely, and the airbags deploy off what's called the dual-stage airbag system. So depending on the nature of the collision, the airbags will deploy in whatever way is best suited for your protection. And I'm really proud of Honda for doing this. You get a free service. It's called Hondalink Assist. As long as your cell phone is paired up to the vehicle, if there was a crash and the airbags deploy, the car calls Honda. There's an operator standing by 24 hours, 7 days a week. They will locate where you are, and help is on the way. There's no charge for that. It's what Honda does to protect their customers. May you never need it. Now, what's really cool too is Honda Sensing is now standard in all trims on the HR-V. So there'll be another video on safety, but basically Honda Sensing, there's a camera mounted to the rearview mirror. There's a radar system up front. The HR-V is constantly scanning for pedestrians, vehicles, and it's observing the lines on the road. So it's got a forward collision warning. If you're coming in too fast on something, it'll be like, hey, brake, brake, brake. And if you ignore the warning under the right conditions, the vehicle will try to slow down or stop completely. So that's called the collision mitigation braking system. And these systems are really easy to use. You decide if you want to have them on or off. The next one is called a lane departure warning. So if the system's on, if you're driving over 72 kilometers an hour, if you start crossing over lines without signaling, the vehicle thinks that you're distracted or fatigued. The steering wheel is going to vibrate, say lane departure, and what's called the road departure mitigation system will try to nudge you back in the lane to keep you safe. And there's 2 features I use every single day. Adaptive cruise control and lane keeping assist. And you can use them separately. They don't have to work together. Adaptive cruise control, let's say you're doing 100 kilometers an hour on the highway and you creep up on a slower driver, the vehicle is going to slow down for you. Or if someone cuts you off and slows right down, if you're not paying attention, the vehicle is going to slow down for you, always giving you safe stopping distance. And if the vehicle in front of you moves out of the way, it'll go back to the intended speed that you set it for. And then if you engage lane keeping assist, or LCAS, the vehicle doesn't fight you, but it does provide some intuitive steering input to keep you centered in the lane. Some of our competitors have a similar system, but it's going to bounce you between the lines. The HRV will keep you nice and straight. The vehicle does most of the driving for you, especially if you've got a long commute. You're really going to appreciate the HRV here. Oh, and the vehicle also has auto high beams. So imagine you're on a country road at night, or it's just not that many cars out there in the evening. You might have your high beams on. You see a vehicle approaching, you turn your high beams off and then back on, then off. The HRV can see the other cars coming, so it'll do that for you. So it's trying to maximize your nighttime visibility. Now, another thing that's sort of safety related is your wiper fluid. It is a 4-liter jug of wiper fluid, not 2, so you're not always going to be topping it up this winter. And when you do get low on the wiper fluid, you will get a low wiper fluid warning. So you're not just going to run out dry on the highway, which would be dangerous. So Hondas will always let you know when you get low on the wiper fluid. That's a really important feature for Canadians. So there's a factor that most people overlook when they're searching for a vehicle, and that is the cost of ownership. With the Honda, there's no preset service interval. You don't have to come in every 6,000 or 8,000 kilometers. There's over 20 sensors in the motor that's checking the oil for you. It's called a maintenance minder system. So when the vehicle is new or when it's been serviced, it's going to indicate that your oil life is at 100%. And over driving cycles and conditions and so forth, that number ticks down. When it gets down to 15% of the oil life, the Honda will say it's time to service me soon, and at 5%, time to service now. Now, Honda has a very unique synthetic oil that they use for their motors, and Honda actually helps offset the price of the oil for you. So people think it's more expensive servicing at the dealership. It's actually not. And there's actually a new program to add value for you, and it's called Brake Pads for Life. If you continuously service with the Honda dealership after your first brake pad replacement, brake pads are on Honda going forward. So tremendous value in this vehicle. Please factor in cost of ownership, the quality, the maintenance cost, and amazing fuel efficiency in this vehicle. I should also point out while I'm right here, because this one's a sport, or if it was the touring edition, there's an extra camera here. Now, all the HRVs have a backup camera. They've all got Bluetooth. But in this particular vehicle, you've got something called Lane Watch. This is exclusive to Honda. So when you apply the right turn signal, this camera comes on. It's going to come through the screen on the inside. It gives you so much more visibility around the vehicle, especially if you're driving in condensed urban areas where there's people on bicycles. You'll see them coming if you're making a right lane change, so you don't cut anybody off and hurt anyone. Now, the design idea of the HRV was to make it look like a 2-door coupe, and that's why the rear door handles are hidden. Now, with the seating versatility that I mentioned, again, this is made possible by the position of the fuel tank. Check this out. Lift up. Both seats will do that. Potentially, you could put a bicycle in there sideways, depending on the side of the bike. And there's more. The seats will go down this way. 1,665 liters of cargo capacity. And again, this is, well, I don't know why they call it a subcompact. You get loads and loads of room here. So please follow me to the back. All right, so this is for privacy. And if you want to get it out of the way, you just fold it up. And then it goes. And the rear seats go down. You can carry so much stuff in there. Goalie equipment. So again, class-leading cargo capacity, more space in this than any other competitors in this segment. Something else that's really important. Now, one thing that people often overlook when they're looking at a vehicle of this nature, they might sit in the front seat, but they don't sit in the back seat. So if you're doing any shopping, for one thing, make sure you check the cargo capacity, but also have a seat in the back. I got loads of room here. I got lots of leg space, and this front seat's back all the way. So if you got any tall passengers, they will be comfortable in the HRV. And there's more. So what I've got to do is I am going to form the rear seat and front seat into a lounger. Oh, by the way, do you have any pets? Do you have any dogs? HRV is dog friendly. I had to throw that in. I have a dog myself. Another cool thing is your backup camera. There's a special coating on it so you don't wreck it with your snow brush. This is really, really important. And the vehicle also has a wiper de-icer system. So when you engage that, the lower part of the front window and rear window is going to warm up and melt the ice off the blades for you. This is really, really important for our climate. So this is the button here for the wiper de-icer. Again, that's going to warm up the windows, front and back. The lower part, it's got defrosting anyway, but this is made specifically to warm and melt the ice off the wipers. This button here is for Eco Assist. That'll basically put the vehicle into a fuel saver mode. When you engage that, you'll see a little green leaf on the display. You give up a little bit of power, but it does save you fuel, and there's fewer emissions going in the atmosphere. All right, so here's a cool fact. And when it comes to emissions, as far as an combustion engine automotive company, Honda is #1, or I should say the least emission company when it comes to CO2 going into the atmosphere from their engines. Also, as a corporation, imagine if Honda was just one car, it would be the most fuel efficient car in the industry. So as a company, Honda is the most fuel efficient car company out there. All right, everything is really easy to use here. Your cruise control, your audio control, your Bluetooth, real easy to use, and that's important. And also, what type of cell phone do you have? Because the vehicle is compatible with Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, which means, let's say you had an iPhone. Just by plugging your phone in, you can access Apple Maps, Google Maps, check out the Waze app, Spotify. Now, the compatibility with both is really, really important because down the road, should you go to resell your HR-V, you've opened it up to the entire cell phone market, not just half the market. So make sure if you're shopping for a vehicle, it's got Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, like our Honda HR-V. Very, very comfortable seats here. It does have heated seats, kind of high and low settings, depends on how you like your buns toasted. Now, a lot of people will choose the HR-V because they may not necessarily want a large SUV, but mobility. I've got some back issues myself, to be honest, and for me, getting out of this vehicle is really easy because you kind of get in and out at hip height. So anyone that's got back injuries, maybe arthritic issues, you'll find getting in and out of this vehicle is so easy, and you'll really appreciate it because of that. Moonroof in the Sport and Touring Edition. You've got a telescopic steering wheel, up, down, forward, and back, so you can be very precise with your comfort settings. My Bluetooth controls right here. You can change the volume, you can change your radio stations while you're driving just by the touch of your fingertips. And over here, you can turn on the Honda sensing. You'd be plugging in your phone down here if you want to access the Apple CarPlay. This way, your cables are not interfering with any of the controls. This is a really cool layout here. And the climate control, dual climate control, and you can use the auto functions. So if you just set the temperature that you want, the car will do the rest to get you there. So I've turned on the heated seats, and the heated seats in the HR-V heats up really, really fast. It just feels wonderful. Obviously, you have to sit in the car to believe it. But again, you got 2 heat settings. It's premium cloth, and wow, we need this for Canada. I'm telling you right now, warm seats that heat up quickly. I promise you will see the value in that. So this is a really simple layout to operate. It's nice that we've got a volume knob. So I can change the volume here, or I can change the volume on the steering wheel. And I can change the source of music, and I can change the radio stations that are preset. Very, very simple to operate. Electronic parking brake, so there's no big clunky handle or foot brake. And then brake hold is a special convenience feature. When you engage the system, like let's say you stop at a red light, typically when you take your foot off the brake, the car's going to start rolling forward. But when you engage brake hold, you can come to a complete stop, take your foot off the brake, and the car doesn't roll forward until you accelerate. So that'll take some of the fatigue out of stop and go. It's also very effective in the Timmy's line in the morning, or if you're waiting for one of those 10-mile long CN rail trains to go by. So brake hold, great feature for Hondas, and that's going to be in all HR-V trim levels. This one being the Sport, it's got a leather wrapped steering wheel, so the Touring Edition feels really nice to the touch. And the HR-V does have available paddle shifters, and a lot of people like these in the winter because you can kind of gear down using the paddle shifter, and you can use the compression of the motor to slow the vehicle down without actually using the brakes. So if you know how to use them, it just makes a vehicle a little bit safer in the winter, especially in the snow. So your backup camera, it's nice, it comes to the big screen. These are called dynamic guidelines. It'll show you the trajectory of where you're turning, and it's a multi-angle camera, so you look straight down. These dotted lines here, that's going to be clearance for your tailgate, and they go wider and wider. You can almost see perfectly left and right, so fantastic visibility. And then the other camera that I mentioned was it's the lane watch. So when I apply the right turn signal, This is the camera that comes on the right side mirror. Cancel the signal, it shuts off, but if you want to use the camera without the signal flashing, there's a button at the end of the turn signal stick. You press that, it'll stay on in real time, so you can use the camera without the signals functioning. Okay, so this has just been a little bit about the HR-V. There is so much more. For more information, please come to Whitby Oshawa Honda. We love our customers here and be very happy to give you a very thorough presentation. And really, you got to drive this thing. The ride and handling is superior to anything else out there. And you can even ask for me, Bryan Weir. I'd be happy to help you. But thank you so much for tuning in. Please click on the links below if you need more information. And if you know anyone shopping for an SUV, especially a subcompact one, please share this video with them. Very important information. This is far away the best vehicle in its class. And I hope I've demonstrated that, but it's the most value for the money. I promise you that. And it'll give you a smile on your face when you drive it. All right, thanks a lot. Have a great day. And stay warm.